You want to know if the Illuminati has been confirmed. Well, it's not that easy. Like the apocalypse, the Illuminati is already here. There's nothing to confirm. Do you see that? Do you see that? Right there. I'm flicking your ears with it. Time to wake up. Time to wake up. The Illuminati has been here. Right here. Right in front of you. For years. Right there. See it? On your almighty dollar. In God we trust. You know God has a name, don't you? His name isn't God. He is the God. But he's not God. No more than when you point to your pet. It's not a dog. You don't say, come here, dog. It has a name. And your God has a name. I am. On this money, where it says, in God we trust. Your God is the money. You are worshiping the God of money. You're not worshiping the one Moses met on the mount. You are not worshiping I am. I always was. I always will be. That's the name of God. I am. It doesn't say, in I am creator of the universe. It says, in God, in the God of money, I trust. In the God of the Illuminati, money. Millions of dollars in God we trust. The God of money we trust. Why should there be a pretense? Why? Why is there a pretense any longer? Why are we fooling ourselves? The Illuminati is here, and you worship it. You desire it. You need it. And you flaunt it already. That's right. In your God of money, we trust. True worship, true belief source. It doesn't come from paper money, millions of printed dollars. No. It comes from without, within, forever and never in a day, all-encompassing, all-knowing, omniscient, and omnipotent. That is a true God. A God of thunder, a God of the afterlife, a God of fertility. You should worship the God of creation, not the God of money. It's funny, there's metal in paper money, and there's plastic in it too. Do you like that? Well, do you? Yes, of course. Of course you do. How nice. I love flicking the air. Flick, flick, flick. Nothing you can do about it, except accept it for what it is. Oh, yes. Oh, accept everything. Everything in life as it is. Or you can be a free thinker. Do you wish to be a free thinker? Someone who thinks for themselves? Is that what you want? Then open up your eyes. Wash all the mud out from between your ears. Wash it out. Let me help you. Wash that mud that's clinging to the inside of your mind, clogging the arteries of your brain. Let me clear it away from you. You must clear your mind of the clutter, the clutter. You must drink from the well of knowledge. To become You must put aside all that you know about the silliness, the value, and the worth of the almighty Yankee dollar. And you must allow your mind to be unfettered and realize the true wealth of the planet is in its people. Their right to think freely, to pursue the joys in their life, to find peace, to find tranquility, love, honor, to work for a living wage, to have financial freedom. These are truly the bedrock issues of the Illuminati. Oh, I feel it. Do you feel it, brothers and sisters? I do. I feel it. I feel it in the air tonight. Oh, yes. That's a money shot right there. Ooh. Strangely okay with all of this, because I know I am. He is. I am. I'm not. He is. I am. No, I'm not. He is. I am not him. He is. I am. Or as I would say, he is. Yahweh. It's another way to say it, so I don't sound like a gibbering idiot. But Yahweh, creator of all. Yes. Recently, I met several young souls who were in dire need of help. One abandoned by her father. The family left destitute, penniless, in dire straits. And the pride the family felt preventing them from going forward. The pridefulness of money holding them back. Afraid to let it go. To let the anger they felt for the lack of money to allow themselves to move forward creatively. And in this they were failed. And I met another young lady, a young child, not yet of adult age, abandoned, neglected, cast out by her parents because she had disclosed her sexuality, and they rejected her. They rejected her over something as silly as begging for help over her sexuality. They were embarrassed. They were ashamed. All they were taught by man's rule, man's law, was that she was inherently evil and corrupt for her confession of her sin. Yet it clearly states, in the same book they profess to testify from, that the Son of Yahweh, I am, said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." And furthermore, he said, all of us were created in God's image. All come to the Father, each in their own way. And furthermore, in this same book, do not judge, lest ye be judged. The same Son of God, who ate and shared meals with the lowest of the low in society's tier, while he visited this plane of existence, he slept side by side with the common man. He broke bread with the tax collector, the unwanted, the unclean, the unwashed. People take pieces of those books to justify their political and moral issues. But when you read the book as a whole, the book spoke to us very clearly. You have to read the book. You actually have to read a holy book to see that there are no secrets. There's no secrets in the Bible, the Quran. No. There's plain truths. They were under the law. If you want to be under the law, you must follow all the law. Yet man could not follow all the law. Man broke the law continuously in his theocratic government. So the law failed. The whole Old Testament is about man failing, not God. Man failing to follow the law that he begged God to give him to rule over his own life, because he was unable, unworthy to take care of himself in his own mind. And it always came down to this. From the times of the Great Pyramids to right now, today, it was always about this. Lack of it and who owned it. It's interesting, isn't it? But we must wash it all away. So, that brings me to my next point. Why did I go on this lecture? Because there's a lot of people out there suffering. They're being told they're not normal, worthy, they are unclean, they are rejected from society, they are unwanted, dirty, filthy people. Yet if you look in that book, remember I said the whole Old Testament was about man's failure with the law because he couldn't follow the law? This was God showing you the law doesn't work. No matter how I tell you, you have to follow it. You didn't follow it. You failed. I told you to go into a city and you destroy every man, woman, and child and every beast in the city. Yet when you entered the city, you kept people alive for slaves. You kept animals, livestock, and treasures from the city for yourself. You polluted your culture with this culture that you deemed unfit and wanted to remove from the planet. And because of these things, you were cast out of your holy land and thrown into Babylon, into imprisonment. And now it's so on and so on and so on in history. This is repeated right up until the apocalypse, the great apocalypse. When they refused to accept the mark of the beast, they were put to death. And still they refuse, because the law doesn't work. Yet they pick and choose the laws for their own needs, their own justifications. And that doesn't work. You always fail if you do not follow all of the law. I hope I haven't lost you. Now stay with me. I'm going to bring it all together. So then the New Testament comes. And for those of you who don't know, Jesus of Nazareth was in the Quran and the Christian Bible. He is in the Quran. They consider him a prophet in the Quran, not a savior. But in the Christian Bible, he was considered a savior. Regardless of these issues, his teachings remain intact. When he died, the veil of the temple was split from the top to the bottom. The temple cracked. The Holy of Holies cracked and splintered. No more would we be under the law, but under our own morals, the Holy Spirit, that you know you have inside you. Your conscience. And the person who came and told you all these things said he was a son of God, the Father I am. And he spent his time with lowly fishermen and teachers, laborers, tax collectors. He even helped harlots. He healed the infirmed and the unclean that weren't allowed within the city walls. He had to go outside the city walls to get the people who were separated from society. He had to search them out. Parable after parable of him healing the sick and the wounded, the infirmed and the diseased, all that were cast out. If the Son of God was here today and he saw a young girl abandoned on a park bench by her parents for choosing to be a homosexual, her only crime following her heart, her desires, her inner demons, if you will, her chemical makeup that forced her, one way or another, to be this way. Created all the same as the rest of us. He would sit on that park bench with her and he would help her before he would go to the parents and help those who followed the law. You do know that. They do teach you that today, don't they? Don't they teach you that in church today? If Jesus was here today, the Son of God, he would not go and sit with the elders of your temple, your church, your synagogue. He was already thrown out of the synagogue as a child. He was cast out of the synagogue by the very people he came to help. They tried to throw him off a cliff. And they eventually killed him 3 years after he announced who he was. He was not murdered for insurrection. because he didn't foment the insurrection that the people of that time wanted. He was killed because he was changing the norm. He did not come to incite insurrection and rebellion against the Roman Empire. He came to heal, to help, to teach. He was a teacher, not a warrior, and he offended all of those in power. All of those in power were offended because he was helping everyone equally and without judgment. And they were not having any of that. No. Today's debates about sexuality are usually carried out by people who have their own axe to grind, their own secrets, their own hidden agendas, their own hidden pasts. And that's how they divide us. You're pro-gun, you're anti-gun, you're anti-abortion, you're pro-abortion, and so on and so on, and they divide us and divide us and divide us. Well, I'm for this, but against that. And that's how they keep us divided. They don't want us to get along. They don't want us to love one another, to be free, to build a life, to have all the things that all the rest of us have. They keep us down. And this isn't free thinking. This is controlled thinking. If you don't reject your homosexual offspring and family, you won't make as much of this. You'll be rejected in the workplace. You'll be socially relegated in the church, in the community, because you raised and sired an unclean person that needs to sit outside the city gates. Sit out alone in the night on a park bench in a city they're not comfortable with, in fear. And I tell you this today, and I know because I've read those books. See, I actually read those books. And there's no secrets in them. If your prophet were here today, he would sit on that bench with that person that you put outside the city walls, whether they were infirmed or crippled or diseased or a sicko, and he would preach to them. He would help them. I'm not saying he would justify it, because he didn't judge. You judged them. The tax collector climbed a tree and said, if I climb this tree, I'll be tall enough to see down there, and I'll be able to see the Son of God. I can get close enough. I can see him. I can actually put my eyes on him. That's as close as I'll ever get. And when the Son of God saw that man in the tree, he called him by name and told him, come down out of that tree. Prepare a meal for your brothers. We're here to see you. We're not here to see that fancy pants that's telling everybody to shove people out the city gates. We're here for all of you, the common man, the unclean. For the least of mine, you do for me. These aren't secrets. If you strike someone, you'll be striked back. It's karma. All over the world, the teachings of the Bible are the same as the teachings in every other religious book. To each go forward to the Creator, each in your own way. Yet we are told, don't take everything in that book verbatim. Just pick and choose what you want to justify your wars, justify man's wars. if you don't think about it, I'll tell you, or if you don't know, I'll tell you, not if you don't think about it. The reason why they always failed in the Bible is because they were not doing what they were supposed to do. They were abandoning their wives, their children, the unclean. They were making up rules for their own benefit, twisting laws for their own benefit, for the God they really worshipped. Jesus said, my kingdom isn't here. He never lied. There's no secrets. He said, my kingdom isn't here. My kingdom is with my Father. I sit at the right hand of my Father. My kingdom isn't here. I'm not going to foment a rebellion. I'm not going to overthrow any governments. They said, should you pay taxes? He said, show me a coin. When they showed him a coin, he said, whose face is on the coin? That's President Washington, the founder of our country, our first president. He said, that's Caesar. Well, then you give Caesar what is his. You rend unto Caesar, you give Caesar the portion of this that is his. He didn't want it. Because you give me, you rend me, your soul, your love, your devotion to the Father. You give this. To whose face is it? Whose face is on this? This is the God of money. This is the God of man, of the planet. This is how Satan is bound to the earth. This is the God of money. And he clearly said, you give this to him. And you give me what I want. Your heart. Because my kingdom is there. My kingdom is a faraway place. Far from this planet. Far from the designs and pettiness of man. My kingdom is there. And people mock. People judge. And they even say that none of this is true. It's all fairy tales. And that might be true. But this fairy tale has a happy ending. If you actually do the things, if you actually read the book, if you actually realize there's no secrets in the universe, that the God of this planet is Satan, and he's bound to this planet, and we worship him, we follow his laws, we follow his secret societies, we follow his wealth. And you give that which God, the creator of the entire universe, not a planet, not a country, not one man. He created all of this. And he asked you to do one thing, honor him. Not build temples out of marble and gold and precious gems. He told you to give me this, the most intangible of things. He told you don't worship this. Don't worship man. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to your fellow man. Rend to Caesar that which is Caesar's. Rend to me that which I want, which is the Spirit. Your heart. Your love. And is it so wrong to love someone? Not love them in a physical way. Love them. Love your brother. Turn the other cheek. And everybody takes these things apart. Loving your brother doesn't mean allowing him to lay you down on the sidewalk and shoot you, assassinate you. Loving your brother means stay at a distance, but I still love you in my heart. I forgive you for what you've done. I don't forget what you've done. I won't let you harm my family again, but I forgive you. I know you do not know what you do. But keep your distance so you don't harm me again. Does this help? How do you abandon your child to the streets? The Illuminati is confirmed. I will explain. We are modern, free-thinking people, the Illuminati. All of us, each and every one of us. Not allowing dogma, governments, religions to control us. We each need to be free thinkers. Reject the teachings that tell you to hate, to despise and cast out. Be accepting of everything and everyone. To each, they come forward, each in their own way. The crocodile has a purpose, man has a purpose, and the eagle has a purpose. I hope this helped a few people. I get a lot of letters saying, I'm not worthy, I don't measure up. But you do. You're just as good as the next person, and you're just as bad as the next person too. So don't be judgmental yourself. And if you're judged poorly by people because they don't like your race, your religion, your sexuality, or your politics, don't turn around and hate them instead. That doesn't prove anything, except that you're just as bad as them. Learn to let it go and move forward in your own direction in a new way. Thank you for joining me today. I know there are some out there who will say, are you pro this or pro that? How about I'm pro-humanity? That humanity needs to reach the stars, and it never will until it puts the petty differences between us away and lets everybody live their own life. So if I'm pro anything, I'm pro-human. I'm pro-humanity. And I want to see my brothers do the same. Until we speak again, remember the Illuminati. The Illuminati was a Masonic group that was founded at the time the United States independence was gained. They get blamed for everything, but in reality, they dissolved a few years after they were formed. I can confirm that. The rest is up to you.